Mike Lyons leads out Sheffield Wednesday on Cup semi-final day, and what a tremendous atmosphere to appreciate at Highbury. Their opponents from the south coast are Brighton, and before an occasion renowned for its tension, their captain Steve Foster looking remarkably relaxed. Well, to lose on semi-final day is a real sickener. It's happened once before to Ron Atkinson, but not today, because Manchester United are back at Wembley, having beaten Arsenal 2-1. How do you feel tonight?
Elton, terrific.
I bet you do as well. Well, meanwhile, Manchester City had to win today to ease their relegation fears. At Main Road, they were at home to West Ham.
Gives it straight to Kinsey. Always had to come across the cover, but an opportunity perhaps for Kinsey to show the pace that makes him such an exciting prospect. Reeves!
And also tonight, another game affecting the bottom end of the First Division. That's Norwich against Sunderland.
Tonight's other headlines. Liverpool still haven't claimed the league championship. Beaten for the first time in 5 months, 3-2 at Southampton. Burnley take a step near relegation to Division 3, drawing 1-1 at Carlisle, where Andy Wharton is sent off, 1 of 6 dismissed. In a unique move, third division rivals Oxford United and Reading are to merge. From next season, they're to be known as Thames Valley Royals. And there's another North West club at Wembley, Norwich Victoria. They win 1-0 at Dagenham in the FA Trophy semi-final, 4-2 on aggregate.
Well, let's go to Highbury now, where the atmosphere for this afternoon's FA Cup semi-final between Sheffield Wednesday and Brighton, well, it was a real credit to football. Certainly the Brighton fans have excelled themselves in this season's competition, taking with them plenty of colour and enthusiasm wherever they go. And that's an expression that could well apply to this fella too. The Sheffield Wednesday manager Jack Charlton, wearing that lucky cap he'd left behind in Yorkshire, but returned to him just before the match. Here's Brian Moore.
Well, let's have a look at the teams, and here's the Brighton team. Yesterday they finally gave up the fight to get Jerry Ryan fit. He's replaced in the midfield by 20-year-old Gary Howlett, will be making only his 4th first-team appearance. It means that Gordon Smith moves out of the midfield to an attacking position alongside Michael Robinson. Well, Sheffield Wednesday have also had injury problems, and this morning, after a fierce training stint on Hampstead Heath, it was decided that skipper Mike Lyons would be fit to play. He's been troubled by a groin injury. Pat Hurd is the left back, with the Yugoslav international Ante Mirocevic coming into the midfield, his first game since January. Someday then for young Gary Howlett. And to think that just about a year ago he was being told by Coventry City with a number of other youngsters that he could no longer be retained. What a game of ups and downs football is. Here he is now in his first cup tie, and it's in the FA Cup semi-final. Wednesday's Mike Lyons has already played in 2 semi-finals for Everton, and he lost on both occasions. What bigger incentive now could there be for him? The referee is George Courtney of Spennymoor in County Durham. And it's Brighton in a change strip of all yellow who get the game underway, attacking the goal to our right, kicking into a bit of a breeze. Pat Hurd getting it away for Sheffield Wednesday in the blue and white stripes, Mirocevic. Beautiful day for watching, but a pitch that has been pretty well watered, but it'll be a little bit bobbly. The nerves will be fully stretched, and it's always an emotional afternoon more than anything else. A tense afternoon, and in fact it got away to a very dramatic start for Sheffield Wednesday. They actually left 2 of their players behind at the team's hotel after lunch by mistake. They got here and realised that David Mills was missing, and so too was the number 3 Pat Hurd. They arrived later by taxi, and I can tell you by the look of them, none too pleased about it all. Smith and Grealish trying to work this ball so often down the right side. They've worked an awful lot this week with Neil Smiley banging in his crosses. This time it's Stevens hitting one in, but Smith getting behind it quite comfortably. Pierce, Grealish, a little flick there for Howlett. Robinson, Howlett again. Shoved in the back by Mills. It gives Brighton the free kick. So 3 in the wall. And Case, great try from the ball! Tremendous! He scored in the last 3 cup ties for Brighton, but they don't come much better or much more important than that. Rifled there, swerving as you can see, off the crossbar and into the back of the Wednesday net. Jimmy Case, the scorer for Brighton. Smith putting it into touch, and it's a Brighton throw. Smiley with the throw for Brighton. They really must be buoyant now. And a corner now for Brighton. New territory this for them. They, until this season, had never been past the 5th round. What a blow. Case again, and it was Stevens who got the header in. Case again, across that goal. Mills looking for support. There wasn't much available. In the end, it was Smiley who got it back. And now Mixon, but he was looking up and wanted too long, and in the end, Mills, with his experience, just nicked it back to the keeper. Fairly phlegmatic, and in the centre, Morris Setters, who both of them know enough about cup football to know there's a long, long way to go yet. Good to see a smile amidst all the tension. Lyons, it's a difficult afternoon for him facing Michael Robinson. He hasn't trained at all this week, Lyons, because of that groin injury. Mosley's throw out to Howlett. Ooh, that may be a mistake, but it might be answered, or it may not be. And Bannister thought he was held back there by Foster, and the referee, I must say, looked straight to the linesman to see whether there was an infringement in his eyes, and the linesman said no. But it was a mistake by young Gary Howlett in the first place, and suddenly it looked as though Bannister might be free, and there he is claiming that Foster held him. Case beaten by Shelton, who loves to break from the midfield and has done so now and has fed the ball to McCulloch. Mirachevich coming in, and it might come for Bannister, and that was goal bound until it hit Gary Stevens and went behind for the Wednesday corner. And you can see Mike Lyons saying, come on, let's get on with this corner. Gary Bannister with it for Sheffield Wednesday. Closed in there, and again Foster gets up. Mirachevich turns it back again. McCulloch's right in there too. Mills is there too. And somehow Brighton, with Gordon Smith on the ball at the moment, get it away. That was really a worrying moment, though, for the South Coast side. Referee looking at both linesmen to see whether they agree that the 45 minutes is up. And indeed it is, and Brighton go in with a priceless first half lead. The goal coming from that free kick where Jimmy Case hammered the ball against the Wednesday crossbar and into the back of the net. So Wednesday start the second half. Wednesday now will be facing a stiff breeze. They've won the cup 3 times. The last time was away back in 1935. Well, they were finalists in 1966. And a free kick to Sheffield Wednesday. And I imagine there have been a few words of wisdom flying around the Wednesday dressing room at half-time. And it's now with Mirachevich. And Mosley comes out to collect. Stevens now for Brighton. Just kept in by Smith. Mills. Shelton did well and found Mixon. Sterling going up outside him. And Pearce, very calm indeed, finding Grealish. And just as calm finds Howlett. Bit of space ahead of the youngster now. That's soon cleared up, but the referee allows the game to go quite rightly, and he tries something from a long way out, and it was worth the try. Well, it was a long way out for Gary Howlett. And now Bannister. It was a good long run, and it provides now a very interesting free kick for Sheffield Wednesday, some 4 or 5 yards outside the Brighton area, and it's just right of centre. It's the sort of area where you'd tremble if Jimmy Case were stepping up. And there are 2, 4, 6 in the wall. Is this the moment for Wednesday to strike back? Play for Milicevic, and Smith didn't get it. It was a little too elaborate, and there wasn't enough time. And the whistle's gone again, presumably for a handball by Graham Pearce, and another free kick for Sheffield Wednesday. Jackson floated in again towards McCulloch, and Mosley down bravely, but not bravely enough, and Milicevic! Well, Brighton were caught there. It looked for a moment as though Mosley must get it, but it was just nicked away. The deflection then came towards Milicevic, and it was he who finished it off to make it 1-1. Someone was claiming a handball, but Milicevic went on after Mosley was beaten. The deflection was a cruel one for Brighton, and it fell for the Yugoslav, and now it's quite a different cup tie. Flip on there by Lyons, or rather by McCulloch, and Shelton getting in. Bannister. Bird. Bannister. That's an interesting bit of play, and there could be trouble now. McCulloch. Oh my goodness, Foster somehow kept it out, and so too did the keeper Mosley, when that must have been the most agonising moment you could imagine. It looked as though Foster had no chance of getting that out, that McCulloch's downward header was going to bounce gently into the net. But somehow Foster made it. A good cross in by Bannister, and they were all over the place. There was the downward header, and there was Foster's clearance. Grealish, little touch for Smith, touch this time for Case. Touched on again for Gordon Smith. Now can he get into a shooting position here? Good save by Boulder, but Smith is there, and Robinson is there! 2-1! His 10th goal of the season for Michael Robinson, and Smith made a great run. Good save there by Boulder. He just held it up a moment, but Wednesday are now in trouble. Smith finds Robinson, who finds the net off the defender. Jimmy Melia, has he got that magic touch again? He's telling the substitute, Kieran Reagan, to go and do a bit of warming up. Yes, away. For Michael Robinson, who had migraines all week because, as he told me the other day, I'm a natural-born warrior, and the fear of defeat is so great. Now Milicevic. Can Wednesday do it again? Mills in a bit of space, with a bit of freedom, Foster at his heels, and a corner. Wednesday's 10th corner to Brighton's 4th. So 10th corner of the match coming up then for Sheffield Wednesday. Big men are forward again. McCulloch's header. Oh, great save there. Tremendous save by Mosley from Mike Lyons. McCulloch doing good work in the air. The Wednesday skipper was in. Mosley's save was absolutely brilliant. Well, Lyons is okay. He's already twice been on the losing side in the semi-final, and he doesn't want it to happen a third time. Well, Foster got above him there at the near post. Case getting it away to the relief of Brighton. That's 7 minutes to go. May depend, a few watches are being scanned around this ground at the moment. Shelton, Case was dwelling on that ball a little too long. The foul was by Howlett. Free kick to Wednesday. Lyons has gone plundering forward again to see what he can get. Here he is. 3 successive losing semi-finals would be such a cruel footballing blow, and he wants to do something about it. McCulloch is up there as well. Foster too. Oh, a miscue there by Stevens, and it could put him in trouble. Then the old head of Jimmy Case, and what a good ball away. Can Robinson get after this one? He's got Mark Smith to hold off, still with Robinson. He's caught it well across the face of the goal and just wide. Free kick. Free kick to Sheffield Wednesday. Sterling, a Sheffield boy, to take it. Mills getting it in there. Stevens somehow getting it away. Oh, and a great save there by Mosley again. That's from Pat Hurd, and that's 2 tremendous saves the Brighton keeper has made. First from Lyons and then from Hurd, when it looked as though it might dip just beyond him and just beneath the bar. So, pressure again on Brighton these last minutes. And again, Mosley gathers well at the highest point. Robinson from Grealish's pass. Smith. Smiley. There are 2 or 3 waiting in the middle. If he can get a good cross in, and it's not a bad one. Mike Robinson's on the end of it, and David Mills for Sheffield Wednesday. Gary Shelton, Milicevic, and now Stevens. Shelton. We're in the time added on now. There'll be a little of it, and they've got to use it well, and maybe they will. Just over that crossbar from Gary Bannister. Came steaming in there so late. It's a sad moment for them, and it shows. I don't think they'll try a short goal kick. I think Mosley's first thought will be to hammer that ball away. In goes Case. Can't let Sheffield Wednesday get the initiative now. Sterling gets it back, but Boulder's going to hit a long one. And there's the final whistle. Brighton, for the first time in their history, are at Wembley. Jimmy Melia runs onto the pitch to look for Foster and Gatting, joined now by the manager, Jimmy Melia. What a moment for him and for Steve Foster.
Yes, what a day for Jimmy Melia, who really couldn't hide his delight on the final whistle. That's Michael Robinson there, former Manchester City, who scored the winning goal. There's Jimmy, the bald-headed figure right in the middle, hugging Jimmy Case, who got the first goal, the former Liverpool player. Jimmy's celebration seems becoming something of a ritual now, the way he runs about and hugs just about every one of his players. Well, now another delighted manager is with us, Ron Atkinson, with the story of that other semi-final, which ended Manchester United 2, Arsenal 1. What was your feeling when the final whistle went, Ron?
I can't understand what Jimmy's running about there for. He's only winning a game, isn't he? Actually, I must admit, I can appreciate that. Marvellously relief, yeah. And the way we've done it, you know, we've come from behind, and so much more enjoyment, so much more. Yeah, it's got to be as good a day as I've ever enjoyed in the game.
All right, well, what about when Tony Woodcock scored to put Arsenal in the lead? What did you feel then?
Oh, nothing more than sort of a traumatic feeling, right? You know, no, I tell you what, they had not been in the game. That's what, it was a strange sort of a feeling, you know, big crowd, good atmosphere, and yet when he scored there was silence, even from the Arsenal fans, because I think they were stunned. They looked as if they had a situation that were going to cause us a problem. Gary Bailey looked to have dealt with it well. Then all of a sudden he appeared to sit on Arthur Alberston, who could have completed the whole clearance, and they scrambled in a goal which I don't think even hit the back of the net. You know, it went about two inches over the line. So
what did you do at half-time? I mean, did you try and change things? Or what?
Nothing at all. We were so much in command for my money. We were doing all the things we said we would do. We perhaps hadn't made as many situations as we would have liked to have done, but we were the boss side. And what we always said was, look, hey, if we can get back to all square, we'll bury this lot. And
then you got Brian Robson in there, and he scored the equalising goal, which we've got here. We've got pictures of it, right?
Robbo here. Yeah, Ashley Grimes, who had a great game for us, make no mistake, throwing a ball into the box. And I think it was tall, but looks as if he was going to clear the thing. And Robbo just burst past him and hooked it in early. The goalkeeper may have done better with it. Woody may have done better with it for them, but Pop hit it early and got in by his sheer power. And that was, I never ever thought we were ever going to get beat then.
So Ren Norman Whiteside scored what turned out to be the winner. Here it is there. It was really a formality as far as you were concerned.
It wasn't a formality, but I did think we would win. This was a super goal. I think a more experienced player, you know, may have taken it on a bit. A fellow like him over there, Lawman, he would have taken it on and slotted the keeper. I think Norman, who takes sort of World Cups, Youth Cups and FA Cups in his stride, just saw the ball, he stood up and he just, you know, the standard saying is he just hit it, and he hit it. And I tell you what, that was a bullet.
Yeah, so what a year he's had. And a nail-biting finish or not?
Well, you're always anxious, aren't you? We had Kevin Moran carried off on a stretcher for his traditional early bath. And then they had one or two little situations. But we made, because we hit them on the break after that, Stapleton was murdering O'Leary at the time because O'Leary looked as if his ankle was giving him trouble. And we may have had 3 or 4 more goals in the last 10 minutes.
Well, Ron, many congratulations again on reaching Wembley for the 2nd time this season. Well, we do wish you the very best on May the 21st against Brighton. Thank you very much. Well, let's move on now and concentrate on those clubs struggling to stay in the First Division. This was the bottom of the table this morning, and we've 2 of those teams desperately trying to avoid relegation. Manchester City against West Ham follows shortly. First, the major highlights involving Norwich against Sunderland. The commentator is Jerry Harrison.
And nicely relayed by Haylock to Barham. Mendham's up there in support too against Monroe. Beaten him. What about Chisholm? Dean square here. Dean, good shot. Great save. Nicely struck. Dean again. We've got Downs behind him. We've got Bennett on the left. Good cross. Turner gets in. And that was a brave attempted header by Birchin, who's in trouble. And there's going to be an infringement there against Rowell and a hold up here. Two players hurt, not so much Birchin, but it could be bigger trouble for Sunderland because goalkeeper Chris Turner is down. Well, Dean checked back on this one and threw in a tantalising ball which Turner had to go for, and so did Birchin. That's elbow and ribs. The referee's attention is being surely drawn to Alan Durbin, who's on the field. I've never seen this. I've seen coaching from the touchline, but this is coaching from the field. Now, he's having to reorganise, I think, with Leighton James in case there's a change of goalkeeper. Looks like Pickering. Pickering, very much like Turner, has had a very good season and has developed in the course of the last 5 or 6 months, but this is a new test for him. And there's applause for the unfortunate Chris Turner. Barham against Monroe. Birchin. Barham's cross, good one. Dean couldn't get there. Mendham. Bennett. Mendham. Downs, that's a good one. Yes, Burchin, good save. Goalkeeper seemed to have muffed it first of all, but he did superbly for the second one, and Downs was doing exactly the right thing. Barham. And Monroe got a foot to that. It's Shannon here. Good cross. Dean. Good goal, although Pickering did manage to get his hands to it. Great cross, though, from the right. Well, there's an injured player while this is being celebrated by the crowd and the Norwich City players, but there's a nice cross and a beautifully hit ball by Dean. Pickering a bit unlucky. And Norwich have their 8th corner. Dave Watson doubling off the near post. Downs driving one off. Well, those drives from Downs were always going to work, but it's Dean who gets the touch and the credit probably, but I don't know, you've got to give half of that to Downs. And you've got to have a lot of sympathy for Nick Pickering. That's an awful situation for any goalkeeper. Well, a lot of people were moving around in the penalty area, but there's clear space and no marking for Downs. Now, Dean, just a neat little contrived flick. He meant that, certainly. It's his goal. 2-0.
Yes, 2-0 the final score, and incidentally Chris Turner, the Sunderland goalkeeper, has a fractured skull, so clearly he will be out for the rest of the season. Well, on now to Main Road, where victory for Manchester City is becoming increasingly important and increasingly difficult. They've yet to win at home since John Benson took over as manager 10 weeks ago, and really game's running out for City if they are to stay in the First Division. Their opponents today, West Ham. The commentator is Martin Tyler.
It's Dennis Stewart that Manchester City look to for inspiration. At a time when there is doubt about whether he'll be offered a contract for next season, Stewart is recalled after being left out of the last 4 games. And dropped from this City side is top scorer and former West Ham player David Cross. Speculation that Cross might be leaving Main Road for Vancouver Whitecaps. Tommy Caton and Kevin Bond both play, although still hampered by groin injuries. And in midfield, Nicky Reid is given special responsibilities to restrict Alan Devonshire. Alvin Martin is absent from the centre of West Ham's defence. Martin's deputy, Joe Gallagher, is in hospital, so Neil Orr partners Billy Bonds. In attack, Paul Goddard has shrugged off a virus that stopped him training this week, but recent signing Dave Swindlehurst is still missing. 18-year-old Alan Dickens won his first England youth cap on Wednesday and has responded to the challenge of First Division football with 6 goals from midfield in his first 10 games. Alan Saunders from Newcastle is today's referee. And it's 3 months since Manchester City gave their supporters a home victory. They attacked the goal to the right in the first half. West Ham, who have come up the table with 3 successive wins and are competing strongly here for a place in the UEFA Cup next season. Orr's header, forward from Frank Lampard. A bright, spring-like afternoon. Jeff Pike on the right-hand side, a 4 in midfield for West Ham. They brought Paul Allen into the side in place of a recognised striker. Hartford. Here's Caton. So much for Manchester City really depending not just on their physical efforts here, but their mental approach as well. Testing cross from Power. It breaks for McDonald. Stewart was chasing in. McDonald had the shot as the ball broke loose. Reid. Trying to link up with Hartford. And now Ranson. Played early for Reeves. Behind him was Billy Bonds. And City have a corner. Coming after 12 minutes. over the pack on the near post. Stewart was fouled by Goddard. Bond this time takes the free kick, and in comes McDonald! "13 minutes is lucky for Manchester City." Kevin Bond clipping the free kick over, and Bobby McDonald rose beautifully at the far post. It's only the third time in this, the 13th game that John Benson's been in charge at Main Road, that City have taken the lead. And McDonald providing what could be a critical goal for the club. Here goes Kinsey. Hartford. Nicely chipped forward by McDonald. On goes Power. And Ray Stewart gets away with the challenge that the crowd felt was a penalty. The referee didn't. Power was caught by Stewart, but no penalty given. City's consolation is a corner. And Caton, is it a penalty this time? Alan Saunders has given Manchester City a penalty for handball by Billy Bonds. Well, City certainly felt they were denied when Power went down, but Kevin Bond just touched on the corner, and Bonds used an arm, and the referee this time had no doubts. And Stewart fires it past Parks. 2-0. Goalkeeper went the right way, but it was too strong for him. And City have a 2-goal lead after 20 minutes. Bonds reacts to Kinsey being late on him, but there's something of the frustration too of the penalty award in that, I'm sure. Devonshire. Goddard turns Caton, Van der Elst going to the near post, and Devonshire is there as well. And Williams grateful to hang on. It was when Goddard got the better of Caton that the problem seemed to be looming for City. And Devonshire's involvement again almost added to those. Reeves tussling with Bonds. The crowd felt that Reeves was fouled, but I think there's a share of backing in. And here's Devonshire for Van der Elst. It was delivered by Devonshire just as Van der Elst likes it too. And he will realise that a chance has gone away from West Ham. The weighting of the pass, a splendid example from Devonshire, but Van der Elst hit it over the top. Well, Reeves let it run out, clearly believing that it would be his throw. The linesman believed otherwise. Manchester City go off at half-time to unaccustomed applause here at Main Road. Dennis Stewart recalled and showing an unerring touch from the penalty spot after Bobby McDonald had given City the lead from a free kick taken by Kevin Bond, who was brought up just 100 yards from the West Ham ground, and McDonald climbing and powering the header past Parks. City are looking to avenge a 4-1 defeat at Upton Park back in September, when both Kevin Bond and Asa Hartford were sent off. West Ham have shown their neatness in the middle of the field. And Stewart deliberately handled, which is a dangerous thing to do this season. We saw 2 players cautioned at Old Trafford last Saturday for just that offence. Mr. Saunders kept the notebook in his pocket on that occasion. Reeves, here's Power. Stopped by Stewart. Manchester City mass their troops again at the near post, with, one senses, some real belief that they might make it count. And Parks has to push his way through bodies, can only knock it behind for another corner. The goalkeeper with a genuine sense of humour, and a smile there at the difficulties. Hartford tries again. It's deeper this time, and Parks misjudged it. And it's Kinsey who put it over the top. It wasn't the kindest of bounces for him, but it was an uncharacteristic slip by Parks. And it just sat up too much for Kinsey to keep down. Gives it straight to Kinsey. Always had to come across the cover. But an opportunity perhaps for Kinsey to show the pace that makes him such an exciting prospect. Reeves! It ends as a goal kick. And it all stemmed from a mistake by Lampard that Kinsey capitalised on, running some 50 yards and aiming for the near post where Reeves was arriving. Here's Pike, trying to be more progressive. Allen. Van der Elst. And Pike, and again Bond defending effectively first of all, but having got the ball, and then tumbled into Pike and finds a free kick given against him. Alex Williams has 4 men set in the wall in front of him. And West Ham plot to try and bypass that wall. And Stewart, well, it got past the wall, but not past Williams, who gets a word of thanks from Kevin Bond for a spectacular save from Ray Stewart's free kick. Splendid reflexes from the young goalkeeper. Dickens, and Pike will be very angry with himself for that, with more than half his teammates waiting in the middle. Here is Stewart. Lampard. Dickens had covered a lot of ground to try and make himself available from the pass. Stewart had stayed with him and fouled him. And West Ham had taken the free kick quickly, and Kevin Bond with an important interception, with Van der Elst sprinting into the clear behind him. For a player who's had to work so hard to make himself accepted at Main Road, Kevin Bond really has showed terrific character and application. And now Kinsey. Bond and Caton will make their way forward again. City really searching a goal to make victory certain. Bond, and Caton and Kinsey. Well, the three fair-headed players involved in this aerial attempt, and it was Kinsey who stretched to try and reach Caton's flick on. Now Stewart and Goddard. And it's Pike arriving. Manchester City were dragged towards the man in possession. Ball watching really, and they didn't pick up Jeff Pike, who hit it hard enough but not true enough. Lampard. Kinsey still prepared to chase. And West Ham haven't been able to overcome a side battling for their first division rights in the manner that they did against Swansea when they beat 5-1 at the Vetchfield recently. Bond. Well, you can hear the relief at Main Road. Relief that I'm sure John Benson feels as well. 2 first-half goals, the key to the victory. But Alex Williams can look back on an important save from Ray Stewart in the second half that kept West Ham at bay. And an important contribution too from the former West Ham fan, Kevin Bond. West Ham, the first side beaten here in the First Division for 3 months. Manchester City 2, West Ham United 0.
A relief for City, their first home win under John Benson, and I share his view that they need just one more win to make sure of avoiding the drop. But it's possible David Cross has played his last game for the club. Vancouver Whitecaps are interested in signing the striker who was left out today, and further developments are expected next week. Confirmation of the bottom positions with the wins by City and Norwich putting them at ease. Luton drew 1-1 at Notts County. Swansea also drew 1-1 with Stoke. Birmingham are off the bottom. A goal from Les Phillips 2 minutes from time, enough for their first away victory of the season at Coventry. And it leaves Cup final Brighton propping up the rest. 2 goals from Nick Holmes helped Southampton to a 3-2 win over Liverpool. Their first league defeat in 20 matches, but they stay 17 points clear with Watford beaten for the 3rd time this season by Nottingham Forest. Final score 3-1, lifting Forest up a place. And Stoke and Southampton still on course for Europe. Tottenham's Alan Brazil scored twice against his old club Ipswich in a 3-1 win. Another 2 for Leicester's Gary Lineker for the 2nd Saturday running in a 3-1 success over Rotherham. It extends their unbeaten run to 10 games and they could sneak promotion to the First Division. Fulham drew 1-1 at Leeds, and Wolves were involved in their 7th draw in 8 games, 0-0 against Bolton. QPR didn't play.
Well, a unique development in football tonight, which you might have seen on the news. It appears that 2 third division clubs are to amalgamate, Reading and Oxford United. The new club will become known as Thames Valley Royals and is the idea of the Oxford chairman, Sir Robert Maxwell. The details are still to be ironed out, and it's by no means certain that it will go ahead. Indeed, some of the directors at both clubs knew nothing of Mr Maxwell's plans, although it does appear that the Football League are in support of the idea. Well, our studio guest tonight, Ron Atkinson, was a player at Oxford, and I was wondering, Ron, if we could ask you for a brief reaction to that news.
Yeah, it's interesting. It might throw out a lifeline to all the lower division clubs. Just looking at it now, my own personal feeling is that it won't get off the ground. Although you say the Football League are in sort of support of it, I would doubt very much whether they would actually, when it comes to the death, give it its blessing.
Well, Ron, thanks very much indeed for that. Well, that's the big news of the day. A day, of course, dominated by cup football, not only here in England, but north of the border as well. One of the Scottish Cup semi-finals ended in a draw. Rangers won, St Mirren won, and it was one goal that decided the other between Aberdeen and Celtic.
Alec Ferguson obviously not happy about things. A few words to say to his players, Noel Simpson particularly being spoken to, so is Peter Weir. Appear to be pushed by Aiken. He's still got in the cross. There's Peter Weir, and Aberdeen have done it. The substitute breaks the deadlock.
Well, quite a day for you. Aberdeen, your hometown club, through there. United at Wembley, a brighter outlook for City, and Huddersfield have gone top of the third division. 3 of your former clubs.
Yes, it's a marvellous day for all the clubs that I used to play for, and of course I played in Italy, and at Torino, they're not playing tomorrow, but I'm sure if they were, they would win.
Right, you're going to share that champagne with us.
With the lawman's luck today, I think we should have a little pop.
Jimmy Melia says that the cup has got Brighton's name written on it, but I've got a feeling it might be you. 2 very colourful managers, no doubt about that. We'll be leading out those 2 clubs on May the 21st. I'm sure you'll agree. Good night. Bye-bye.